Midnight, the hour when everything breathes slower. I walked beneath the silence of the streetlights, feeling the cool hum of the city sleeping around me. And in that quiet hum, I realized I was no longer here. My reflection in the shop windows looked back, a stranger wearing my clothes. The sound of my footsteps was a hollow echo, detached from my body. The air grew still, and time itself seemed to pause, holding its breath just for me. It wasn't a loss, not yet. It was a release, a gentle unhitching from the world I thought I knew. I was becoming a whisper in the heart of the night. The clock tower struck its final chime, the sound swallowed by the vast, empty avenues. A single drop of rain fell, then another, blurring the neon signs into watercolors on wet asphalt. Each drop felt like a second ticking away, not forward, but backward into a space before memory. I stood between the light and the shadow belonging to neither. The world was a stage, and my part had been played. Now, the curtain was falling, not with a crash, but with a soft, velvet sigh. I was fading, dissolving into the silver blue tones of the hour, ready to drift away from the shore of myself. The streets began to dissolve, the solid lines of buildings melting into a soft, encroaching fog. My reflection, which once stared back at me from puddles, now wavered and vanished, leaving only ripples behind. I was becoming transparent, a ghost in my own life story. The night wrapped around me like a comforting blanket, promising a journey not through space, but through time, through the corridors of my own mind. Each step forward felt like a step deeper into a dream I couldn't wake from. The familiar world was peeling away, layer by layer, revealing something new and formless beneath. Faces I once loved, faces that defined me, started to melt into abstract colors. Their voices, once so clear, became distant murmurs, words losing their weight and meaning. I watched as photographs of my past, captured moments of laughter and tears, floated in the air before me. They curled at the edges, burning slowly, not into ash, but into particles of light dust that danced and swirled in the misty air. It wasn't sad, it was a release. I disappeared to remember not who I was, but what I was made of before the world gave me a name. The night held me like an old friend, whispering secrets I had long forgotten. I saw a child running barefoot through the rain, their laughter echoing in the fog. It was me, the version untouched by worrying, the part of my soul that still believed in magic. The camera of my mind moved softly, dreamlike, showing me these overlapping memories, these double exposures of then and now. The past and present danced together, no longer separate. I was drifting through a gallery of my own making, each memory a painting I could step into. The scent of rain on concrete, the feeling of a hand I used to hold, they were all here, suspended in this timeless space between being and nothingness. The fog thickened, the last vestiges of the city gone. I was in a void, an abstract black space filled with floating particles of light, like dust motes in a sunbeam or distant, silent stars. I was weightless, drifting in the center of this immense nothingness, surrounded only by the echoes of my own voice. Words I had spoken, thoughts I had kept hidden, all came back to me not as sounds, but as gentle vibrations in the silent dark. It was the heart of the journey, the core of the disappearance. Here, in the absolute stillness, there was nothing to be but myself. This silence wasn't emptiness, it was a fullness without shape, a presence that required no form. It was the universe breathing in, and I was breathing with it. In the dark, I met my fears. They took shape before me, shadows of doubt, specters of failure, ghosts of regret. They swirled around me, not with menace, but with a quiet curiosity. I didn't fight them. I didn't run. I simply watched them, and in that silent observation, a strange thing happened. They bowed their heads in recognition, not as enemies, but as parts of me I had refused to see. They were my shadows, and here, in the dark, they finally belonged. Fragments of glass, representing my shattered certainties, floated past. As I watched, they transformed, their sharp edges softening, their surfaces catching the faint light until they became stars in my personal cosmos. My own shadow, once attached to my feet, detached itself and danced freely in the void. It wasn't a monster to be feared, but a partner, a hidden self finally allowed to move. This was the deep stillness, the timeless moment where creation and destruction were one and the same. I was unmade, unburdened, and in that unmaking, I found a profound peace, a spiritual clarity that the busy, sunlit world could never offer. Then, slowly, a crack appeared in the darkness. Not a sound, but a sliver of faint, golden light. The darkness opened its eyes. The sunrise began, not as a spectacle in the sky, but as a warmth spreading from within me. My body, once a fading whisper, started to reform, not from flesh and bone, but from pure golden light. The dust motes of memory, the stars of shattered glass, all gathered together, weaving themselves into a new form. A form that was mine, yet brighter, lighter. The cold of the void was replaced by a gentle, serene warmth. Warm lens flares filled my vision, and glowing dust particles danced around me like tiny, joyful spirits. The abstract space gave way to a world reborn. The mist was still there, but now it was illuminated, glowing with the promise of a new day. Birds, silhouetted against the dawn, flew into the sky, their wings catching the first rays of sun. I felt the ground beneath my feet again, solid and real. A wide, sweeping view showed me standing small under an infinite, amber sky, not lost, but anchored. I disappeared to remember, and in remembering, I became real again, not the same as before, but whole. I was the dawn. I was the light.